guard asked, walking several paces toward the wooden huts. Toward her. Her heart seemed to be pounding in her chest. "Jim?" the guard repeated uncertainly, slowly advancing. The woman recognized the voice of the guard known as the sadist, a wicked bastard who delighted in inflicting pain and suffering on the captives, a small man with a pallid complexion and a jagged scar extending from the corner of his left eye to the tip of his pointed chin. Of all the human guards, the sadist was hated the most. "Who the hell is there?" the sadist angrily snapped. She could see him surveying the huts, evidently perplexed. Not once did he glance at the ground, at her. If only he would pass her by, or resume his patrol. "You'd better speak up, or else," the sadist warned, but his tone lacked conviction, as if he wasn't completely positive of what he'd heard. The woman saw him pause, and she could readily imagine his train of thought. He knew no one had ever successfully escaped from the spider's clutches. There had been a number of attempts decades ago, but the hatchlings and the human guards had tracked the escapees down and slain them, or so the captives were told. The woman had often wondered if the guards were telling the truth or concocting lies intended to discourage any bids for freedom. In any event, no one had tried to flee during the 7 years of her captivity. All of the women were acutely aware of the dire consequences of being outside their assigned hut after lights out. So the sadist wouldn't be expecting anyone except another guard or a hatchling to be outdoors at such a late hour. "Is anyone there?" The sadist was 5 feet away. The woman inadvertently trembled. "Must be hearing things," the sadist mumbled, looking over his right shoulder at the woods. 2 more steps and the son of a bitch would trip over her. She twisted, reaching her left hand downward and grabbing the rock, gouging her knee, elated to discover it was loose and about the size of her palm. The sadist looked at the huts. "Maybe it was one of the bitches," he speculated, and proceeded forward. The woman was ready for him. She saw him take 1 stride, then lift his leg for a second. He was almost on top of her, his crotch directly above her head. She swept the rock up and in, lunging to her knees, driving the unyielding stone into his groin. Startled, overwhelmed by agony, the sadist doubled over, his right hand covering his genitals. "Take this, slime!" the woman exclaimed triumphantly, swinging the rock in an arc and clipping him on the jaw. The sadist grunted, sagging to his knees in front of her. "And this for everything I owe you!" she cried, unable to contain her pent-up emotions. Her loathing, the sheer repugnance accumulated over 7 years of emotional, physical, and sexual abuse, surged to the surface. She bashed him again and again with the rock, 5 times in all, each blow delivered with all of her force to his chin and cheeks. Groaning, the sadist toppled to the left, landing on his face. The woman jumped erect, glancing at the huts, then at the tower. No one was in sight, yet. She raced to the forest and plunged into the trees, heedless of the limbs and the brush tearing at her arms and legs. She'd done it. They'd never catch her now. A strident horn blast suddenly sounded from the direction of the tower. The alarm. The sound chilled her blood and lent speed to her legs. The alarm meant the other guards would be after her within minutes. And the hatchlings, dear God, the hatchlings. Loud yelling broke out behind her. The woman flinched as a branch gouged her right cheek, drawing blood, stinging terribly. She pressed onward, scared to her core, determined to put as much distance as possible between herself and the spider's lair, forgetting for the moment her original plan to travel due south. Several minutes elapsed, her breathing becoming labored, the strain of her pell-mell flight taking its toll on her undernourished and fatigued body. The ground was sloping upward. What the hell was she doing? The thought brought her up short. She gasped for air, gazing skyward in an endeavor to get her bearings. She had to get a grip on herself. She needed a clear head if she was to survive. Shock numbed her mind as she abruptly realized she was going the wrong way. She was supposed to be heading due south, but instead was making to the east. The east and the cliffs. She doubled over, tears of frustration forming in the corners of her eyes. To be so close, and then to blow it because she was too stupid to head in the right direction. What an idiot! A pronounced click, click, click wafted on the breeze, coming from the rear. An odd, eerie sound.